All right, thank you so much for having me. My name is Ren Quesada. I'm very excited to tell you more about Sabana. Soul-sucking, wasted time, blood, sweat, and tears. We've talked to over 100 architects and engineers, and they're all saying the same thing. They hate writing construction specifications. You probably don't know what these are, but when you're building a building like this, not only are you doing the drawings, but on top of that, you're also writing a project manual. Those contain the specifications, just like these, can be hundreds to thousands of pages that describe in detail the products and the materials to go to every building. Not only are they extremely tedious, but they're very important. These are contractual documents, so any potential discrepancy could lead to a liability exposure. After working in the architecture industry for nearly a decade, I realized that this process is a mess. You have a lot of different team members looking through products online, saving them into folders, renaming the PDFs, emailing each other, using phone calls, chat, just to get all these changes onto a spec book, where a technical lead basically grabs all this information that is unstructured, reviews it, and puts it in technical language. Puts those, ultimately, the majority of firms still use Microsoft Word. Not only is there a lot of slow manual input, but it's prone to human error. So we decided to work on Sabana. We're an AI data management platform that helps architects and engineers specifically through this process. We try to save time, increase your revenue, and minimize errors. So let me show you how it works. Let me see if the video goes through. Okay, video did not work, but that's okay. Basically what we do is we let any architect or engineer upload any product from a URL. Through that, we're able to use our AI to scrape the information and then grab parts through all the parameters and get that information in a structured system so you can actually compare products from different manufacturers. At the end, you can actually take this and then export it into a spec book or a spec sheet, and then that way architects and engineers can collaborate through that process. So how does this tie to Energy Week? We think that there's a lot of potential in us parsing through the information and actually downloading a lot of the environmental data that is associated with these products and materials. That includes EPDs, environmental product declarations, health product declarations, material sourcing certifications that can really help architects and engineers make a decision of which product should actually get spec'd. Even though we're very early, we're a student startup, I wanted to highlight a specific example from a use case. This is one of those architecture firms that I love. They actually went through the effort of carefully reviewing each product option and material, and by doing so, they actually were able to lower their embodied carbon by almost 60% in comparison to a typical baseline. And this included efforts from structural engineering, architectural, and MEP. When you start looking at the embodied carbon of buildings, if you're able to make those decisions early on in the process and be really careful about what you're speccing, you actually could use biogenic materials that capture, sequester carbon early in the process, so you start at a negative, and ultimately down the road, you can really decrease your embodied carbon output. In this example, 94 tons versus 24 tons for 50 years. The team is myself, Saka Kulkarni, and Alex Ju. They're full stack engineers, students here at Carnegie Mellon. We actually started our company last summer. Since then, we've talked to over 100 architects and engineers. We finished the TechStars Accelerator, and we're actually onboarding our first few beta testers. We have a few firms around the United States that are testing the product right now, the very lean MVP. And we're hoping to actually, at the end of the month, have a new product, a new second version with a lot of the feedback that they've been giving us, and hopefully we can get them as paying customers. We also have 22 firms in the waitlist. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
So in the design process, in many cases, I'm a mechanical engineer, so forgive me. So SolidWorks, Creo, Dassault, Autodesk. Oftentimes, the PDM software defines a lot of this, or it catalogs a lot of this information, and then what you've spec'd into the design often is 3D modeled or 2D modeled into the actual design. So I'm kind of curious, how do you integrate with the actual defining design documents vis-a-vis the 3D model or 2D prints generated from them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're hopeful that we can make a product that can actually go back and forth between BIM and having a spec book, because ultimately a lot of these are not very automated. Also, one of the challenges that we've been talking to a lot of our users is that even though they're using BIM, a lot of the information inside of the models actually not end up being that accurate, or there's a lot of changes and they don't keep up. So their spec writers are actually scrambling through all this information. What we need, or what we're trying to do, is have a lot of clarity through the entire process in one place. But we do see potential in actually helping or figuring out a way to integrate or use a different tool that helps us do that. Like, for example, for BIM, there's a company called BIMlink. You're able to put that information onto Excel spreadsheet and then populate the components inside of a BIM model.
And what do you envision being your business model?
Yeah, so we didn't get into that, but currently right now we're looking at pricing per seat. It's still very basic. We're trying to attract small to medium-sized architecture firms in the region as our first starting point. We think it's a good starting point for us as we're starting to create a product and then ultimately try to attract some of the bigger players. But we want to start with a very simple pricing. Firms up to 4 seats, around $500 a month or $550, and then up to 9 seats for $1,200. Thank you.